All right. Thank you for listening to this episode of Two Heels in the Face Wrestling Podcast. On today's episode, we have a very special guest. We're going to take someone through the wrestling buffet line. That's the salad, the main course, the dessert. Before I introduce that guest, I'd like to take a second to bring your attention to something, you, the listener. November is National Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Month. I actually lost someone to this disease. I just wanted to take a second to use our platform, Two Heels in the Face, to give you a heads up on a few things. Pancreatic cancer is known as a silent killer. Its symptoms are very vague and subtle. It's a third leading cause of cancer-related deaths due to no early screening capabilities, quickly becoming the second leading cause. So it's important to me, and it's important to stay educated on topics such as these. So for more information and to find out how you can help, go to www.pancan.org. That's PANCAN.org. All right, jumping into the buffet line, I'd like to introduce a Freelance Wrestling Academy graduate, a wrestler for Zella Pro, Freelance Wrestling, Freelance Underground, someone who puts a smile on my face, especially when he opens the show, because I really enjoy his theme song. We're going to touch on that briefly. But this is El Sazon Angel Escalera. Did I say that correctly?
Yes, you did. El Sazon Angel Escalera, and I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be a part of the wrestling buffet. You know, the buffet's been needing some flavor lately, and El Sazon is ready to bring it. So I'm happy to be here.
How long did you rehearse that?
I just thought of it right now.
Oh, you just thought of it right now?
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, we need.
Believe it.
I can. We need to have James give you the mic, huh? You got some quick thinking going on?
Yeah, I try to. I've been an actor since first grade. I've been around the theater scene, and in high school, the high school I graduated from, class of 2020, it was Shy Arts. For those who aren't familiar, it's a liberal arts high school, and I went there for theater for 4 years. So, for 4 years straight, from 2 to 5, I had my theater classes, and they weren't electives; they were graded, so they affected my GPA. But yeah, I specifically wanted to go to that school to better my wrestling. So hopefully the theater classes help a lot. I know Drama King did the same thing. We had a conversation about that. He went to Columbia.
I see.
That's just a little bit of backstory.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I want to get more into that. Before we do, let's just quickly explain what the wrestling buffet line is to someone who might be listening to this for the first time. So we've had a lot of your I call them classmates. They're more like your peers or fellow wrestlers now on the roster, but guys who have kind of came through the Freelance Wrestling Academy around the same time that you did, guys and girls. And we want to introduce the wrestling buffet line is kind of our version of our interviews that we have on the podcast. So it's broken down into the 3 sections: the salad, which are like a little bit of introduction and some, it's lighthearted, the salad a little bit. You get the main course, which is a little bit more sinking your teeth in the specific like matches or shows or things that you've done. And then the dessert, which is guilty pleasures, a little bit of word association. We can talk about some of your acting and stuff probably in that section, because I'm really interested in that. I did not know that you were that deep into that realm. So that's really cool. First, we're going to jump into the salad. Are you hungry?
Oh, yeah. I'm starving. I am starving. I'm ready to eat this whole buffet. So let's get it started.
Great. And I have a lot of in a podcast where it's Chris and who is Mexican and is myself, who is my heritage. I'm a white guy, basically. So I have a lot of white guy moments on this podcast.
It's all right.
So Elsa's on the seasoning, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I looked it up. I got it right. So yeah, I can't wait. We're going to sprinkle some seasoning all over the salad. That sounds weird.
Yeah. We're going to give it some flavor.
Great. Angel, what is it that you love about wrestling? So it's a very vague, broad question. Some people kind of go more towards like the action or the theatrics or like any one of those answers. But like, what is it that you love about wrestling? Like what aspects of it?
So it's kind of a 2-parter, but I'll try to make it quick. Okay. As a kid, it was the theatrics of it. So yeah, like the action, the storyline, and just like how invested I would get into it. But as I grew older and grew more into like the community of wrestling, whether that be the internet wrestling community or being in wrestling and doing it, I kind of had an epiphany and just realized like wrestling is one of the few things that like really unites people and bring them together. And in a
Mhm.
time where we're so divided, whether it be left, right, racial issues, religious issues, I noticed that wrestling, especially if you go to a freelance show, I just see all sorts of walks of life, gay, straight,
Yeah.
um, different religions, different political ideologies, and people are able to really set their differences aside and just enjoy what's happening in the ring and just come together. I've made friendships that will last a lifetime just because I found out someone else was a wrestling fan and we were able to connect off that right away. And even those friends that I may not see eye to eye with on like different subjects,
Mhm.
we're still able to be friends over the connection we have over wrestling. So it became something much deeper than that. And in the
Okay.
locker room, we all make fun of like brother, brother, saying that, but it really is a family and a community,
Yeah.
and just like the fans, we're all really diverse. And I don't just mean that racially, but just how I've been saying. And just that community aspect really made me fall in love with wrestling even more. It really made me want to take uh, the next step and just becoming a professional wrestler and just
Yeah.
being a part of something bigger than myself, which is just that unity that I just love seeing. So that the wrestling community just it really, yeah, I don't know how else to put it. That's what really put it all together for me and really made
Yeah.
me fall.
Yeah. No, it's a great answer. Chris and I um, credit. We talk about we talk about this podcast and like why we think that we've had success with it, and we break it down into the two C's: consistency and community.
Right.
Community obviously being one of those. And yeah, I think walking into a freelance wrestling show at the Logan Square Auditorium is probably the least non-judgmental environment I've ever been
Oh,
in my entire
100%.
life. Yes.
100%.
There is, like you said, just complete diversity there. And everyone is there to just have a blast and enjoy a wrestling show.
Right.
Yeah, fantastic answer. So I want to ask you this question next. We try to stay away from the how did you get started question as much as we can on this podcast. I think we've been giving ourselves a little bit of we've been giving ourselves a break a little bit because a lot of the people we've had on, and I said that I mentioned like yourself and some new graduates, they just haven't been on as many podcasts. I think people are still getting to know you, so to speak. So I just want to know what made you want to get started, some of your influences growing up in wrestling.
Definitely, I think my biggest influence, this is probably a generic answer, especially with the wrestling scene today, but Jeff Hardy, man, Jeff Hardy, when I first like really discovered him, because I didn't grow up watching wrestling how a lot of other people did. How I started was I was browsing through Netflix and I seen Hulk Hogan's Ultimate Anthology, and I'd recognize him from the Racket Center commercials. I'm showing my age, just being so young. And I remember my mom like popping for him because she's seen him on the TV. So I was like, I got nothing better to do. Let me check this guy out. So I started off watching Hogan matches. The first wrestling match I ever seen was Hogan versus Big John Studd for the I think it was a body slam competition. So
Okay.
I gradually went through Netflix documentaries on wrestling before this was on the WWE network. And I came across the Jeff Hardy documentary and Matt Hardy documentary, Twist of Fate. I think it was something along those lines.
Yeah.
And dude, that reeled me completely in. Jeff was just, man, he really encapsulated me. And then the one who I was able to relate to most was Rey Mysterio. I think for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
I've met Rey. Super nice.
Did you meet him at Warrior?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I met him at Warrior the second time. The first time it was at C2E2, and I actually got to meet him backstage at C2E2 because when I went up, it was just when like I first started training. So like for my question in the Q&A for the Lucha Underground Q&A, I basically asked him like as a small guy, like not necessarily how he made it, but how did he get respect? Because I know like being in this business, especially with the landscape now for at least WWE, it's like, oh, we want guys over the age of 6 feet, 200 something pounds, and I'm 5'4", a little over 160, so I don't necessarily meet that mark, but yeah, I asked him for advice and stuff, and
Cool.
he gave it to me. And at Warrior, he remembered me, so we were able to talk. And he was definitely a big influence outside of Jeff Hardy, just inspiring me that I could do
Yeah.
this at my size, and that I don't have to be um, a Big Show or a Hogan or a John Cena. You know, I could still offer something at my size. So
Mhm.
definitely those two.
That's a very poignant question. I'm sure he appreciated that as opposed to like maybe something he gets more often. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, if Marco Stunt can make it, I don't know if that's where you're trying to go,
Oh
or like
yeah.
wherever you're trying to go. Then I think that he should give you hope, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when I seen Marco like making it big, I was like, oh yeah, I'm a big supporter of the smaller guys. Like
Yeah,
you, like on my Twitter, I think I still have it pinned, but it was when the news first broke out about like, oh, you got to be like 6 foot something, 200 and whatever pounds to make it. And like my pinned tweet is basically saying like it's BS, you know, like you could market any wrestler at any size, you know,
yeah.
uh, you can. And if you don't think so, then you're either a bad promoter or just don't know how to do business.
No, it's fair. I mean, you can get people invested in a story, no matter the size of the
Oh
person.
yeah,
I
and
think.
who doesn't like an underdog story?
Yeah, there's many out there, and
Right,
people love
me and
those.
Robert Anthony at the last freelancers.
Yeah. And you were Jeff Hardy at a Halloween Battle Royal, were you not?
Oh yeah, I was Rey Mysterio in 2018, and then Jeff Hardy 2019.
Nice. You got to be
Yeah,
both.
yeah.
Fantastic. Great. Yeah. Thank you for that's a great answer. I want to know your gimmick though. How would you? I mean, like I said, it puts a smile on my face. Like I think I'm not trying to pigeonhole you at all, but I think when you start a show, a little bit of this of it is your entrance theme as well. Like I had to look, speaking of white moments, I had to look, I was like, I don't, obviously I took 2 years of Spanish in high school, but I know like basic words basically. And then when that song came on, when your song hits and like you start off the show, I think it definitely jolts the crowd into like, oh shit, this is a wrestling show now. Like let's get it going, and like it brings the crowd up to like a really nice level. But when your song hits, I don't know any of the words in the song, so I was like using that Google like app, or like you can use like some kind of Google app and like hum the
Yeah.
song,
Mhm.
and like I was like humming it into
Yeah.
or my wife was like humming it into her phone, and then we had to that's how we figured out what the song was. But it was a Mark Anthony song, correct?
Yes. Vivir mi vida.
Yes, and to live my life, to live my life.
Live my
Yes.
life. Yeah.
So who is Angel Escalera the wrestler? What is the vibe you're trying to display like in the ring and when you come out and everything?
So my character is a Puerto Rican salsa dancer.
Mm-hmm.
I am Puerto Rican, you know.
Okay.
In our culture, we're very big on representing who we are. And I know there's a lot of Puerto Rican wrestlers out there. Like you could tell we always have the flag on us and stuff. And but what distinguishes me from them is the danza and the salsa portion, because I noticed most of like the Puerto Rican wrestlers, especially that I've seen, for example, like in the 90s, Los Boricuas, you know,
Mm-hmm.
they're always chalked up to this generic cargo shorts wearing like hood, you know, cholo-esque character, you know, and
Yeah.
cholos are
Yeah.
more Mexican, you know. And I I went through a couple of different gimmick changes. I think about three or four before I got
Okay.
to this one, which is finally what stuck. But I kind of came to a realization. I was like, man, I'm tired of, you know, my people in the wrestling community being represented as, you know, that. Not that that's necessarily bad, but there's a whole other side to our culture, and that's where the
Yeah.
dancing came from.
Cool.
I always grew up dancing at my family parties, always dancing salsa, and always just having a good time. And like how the song says, living my life. And I wanted to bring that same joy and that same energy to wrestling. That's why I chose that song specifically, because
Okay.
it's almost like the Puerto Rican anthem, you know? And not only that, but that's like the main song that would always play at my family gatherings. That was like that every time I would play, immediately everybody just started getting up and dancing. And I wanted to bring that part of my culture to the wrestling industry. And that's why I try to make my entrance as big and as elaborate as possible and just getting everybody dancing with me.
Yeah.
And based on your reaction, I'm hoping it's working.
It works
So,
for me.
oh yeah, definitely. So I always try to bring that same energy, and just have people experience that, because I don't want to just be a wrestler. I want to be a showman, and there's a couple of plans that I still have for my entrance up my sleeve that I've dabbled with on a smaller scale that I'm hoping to bring, but it's just the right time. But I'm hoping to expand my entrance just a little bit more. But
Okay.
we'll have to save that surprise for when I actually make it happen. But I am excited to hopefully get it sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I think you see with a lot of people, a lot of wrestlers on the independent scene, that you start to layer stuff in gradually. Mm-hmm. You have like a base, and then you start to and then you layer stuff in. I think that's what I don't want to. There's a wrestler who I don't want to talk about because he's on our shit list, but he had changed his gimmick, and then he started to layer stuff in. He eventually had had a mask and things like that. So it's I don't want to give him, I don't, it's Project Monix basically. I don't want to give him too much shine because we're pissed at him at this moment, but
freaking Monix, man.
Yeah. It's,
I remember training with him a year ago and he was like, oh yeah, I'm thinking of just doing one last retirement run. And I almost shed a tear for him. Almost.
I want my tears back. Actually, my tears were, they gave during the slideshow. I think they came out of my eyes for sure. At least watery eyed.
Yeah, he kind of threw a shot at me on Twitter recently, a couple days ago, and I had to shoot back. And I was like, "Hey, watch yourself. If you want to fight me in the ring, that's a different story."
Yeah,
so, we'll see. He declined the offer because I guess he thought I was too good, which I appreciate the compliment. I'm glad he knows his limits, but I don't know if he can handle all this.
Definitely. But yeah, he before he lied to all of our faces, he's one who started to layer, he's like, okay, I'm gonna be Project Monix, and then you saw stuff continually layer in. It wasn't all at once. I think a little bit that with the Bang Bros too. First they just have the name, and then you see promos of Davey drinking Bang, and how their gimmick is funny. It's funny in that way. And then he's
they progressed so much.
Yes, and then now he has the pants, and now they're legitimately in the ring. They're like, oh fuck, these guys are really fluid and crisp. So it layers in like that. I'm sure you just gotta you one wrinkle here, one wrinkle there. By the time you have 5 more wrinkles added to you.
Yeah, and those the Bang Bros especially, they've improved so much, and those are some of my best friends, and I can't wait to as it was just announced recently, take on the Take It Home Wreckers with them by my side, the best tag team in the Midwest, and in my opinion, best tag team in the country, and we're all under the age of 25, so we're just getting started, baby. I can't wait. Can't wait for this match.
Damn, that's awesome. Yeah, that is at Matt Nick's birthday party. FreelanceWrestling.com should have the ticket link. You can go check that out, you the listener. Wrapping up the salad here, what in terms of your free time, what wrestling are you watching in your free time? We talk about how wrestling is a buffet. That's the reason why we have this buffet line style, but I should have said that earlier. But that's what the foundation of our podcast is built on, wrestling as a buffet, meaning that there's so many different things to love about wrestling. You can choose to go to any different type of wrestling that you want, whether it be a promotion or style. And you're not judged here. You're welcome to talk about anything. So that's the reason why we have the buffet line. If that makes sense?
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah, thank you. And so what do you watch in your free time? What are you watching?
So
if anything, and the answer could be nothing at this time too, as well, because I know you do a lot of your own wrestling. So
I don't watch anything religiously anymore.
Okay.
Like I used to. When I watch wrestling now, it's usually to study.
Yeah.
To see what I could learn, and definitely one person I could definitely say that I've been watching is Jonathan Gresham, because his style, just the way he manipulates the body, it's something that I definitely want to get better at, just my
Okay.
grappling. And one of my favorite matches of his was him versus Lee Moriarty for the it was in October. Crap, what was the show? It was for the Culture,
Okay.
but it was that 3-day wrestling event in Indiana that GCW was hosting.
Okay.
The Collective, I think. Yeah, it was the Collective.
That was
It was
in
the Collective.
2020, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Not for
super
that
fan.
show, but I was there that weekend, kind of.
Yeah, him and Lee, man, they tore the freaking house down with that match.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really dope to see. So he's one guy that I study, and then of course Rey Mysterio, just so I could, continue freshening up on things that I could do against my opponents. And I definitely accredit a lot of Rey Mysterio to how I was able to survive Robert Ego Anthony as long as I did, and maybe surprise him a little bit. I know for a couple seconds there in the match, Frank the Clown was looking a little scared. So I credit that to my Rey Mysterio tape studies.
Okay.
And a last final one, I'd say, actually no, two. I'd say Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels.
Okay.
I studied both of them a lot. So yeah, those four: Gresham, Michaels, Flair, and Rey Mysterio. I like to study a lot of those guys. Flair especially for just how flashy he is and just how just big, his expressions are in the ring, just everything,
Right. Over
So I love
exaggerated.
studying those four guys.
That's cool. No, I like that answer. It's a very studious approach. Your favorite part of an actual salad?
Ooh, let me not say croutons.
That's a popular answer, and that's my
Yeah.
favorite answer.
Other than croutons, I'd say in the salads that I make, I really like the dressing that I use. Specifically, it's a 0-calorie ranch dressing from Weldon Farms, and I like it because when I first heard of it, I was like, okay, this is 0 calories. This is one of those like diet things that says it's ranch, but it doesn't taste like it and it tastes horrible.
Okay.
And then I tried. I'm like, all right, this tastes like ranch. So good for when I'm on a diet, just trying to maintain my figure or lose some fat. So I always like Weldon Farms 0-calorie ranch dressing.
Okay.
It's a great substitute because other ranch per serving is like 100, 120 calories. So to have per serving 0, that puts a big dent in that. So I love that ranch dressing.
Okay. Ranch dressing is gross to me, but I know it's popular. So.
Oh yeah.
I just can't do it. Yeah, it's just a mental thing for me. I don't think it's the taste. I think it's just like a mental thing. I think I just grew up in a house where my too much ranch was used. And I just can't get it out of my head.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah, not by me, but by my siblings. Yeah. Moving on, the main course. Now we're in the main course. We're talk a little bit about just stuff in the ring. We get sink our teeth into some stuff. Let's talk about Freelance Wrestling Academy and your experience there. Specifically Bryce and Isaiah being your teachers. How are they as teachers, leaders in Freelance Wrestling Academy? What are some important things that you've learned from them?
Well, Bryce was my first instructor. I went to his classes first before Isaiah's, and he's the one who actually brought me in. That's why I started going his first. Nothing against Isaiah.
Sure.
I started taking his classes a couple months later when I could afford it. But from Bryce, I definitely think the two biggest things I've learned from him was in wrestling, like move wise, the lucha libre style.
Okay.
Because I wasn't taught that. When I started training in 2017, but it was with another promotion. I started training with the Academy January of 2019.
Okay.
So I was never exposed to lucha before, but Bryce really blew my mind with that style. And then the second thing he taught me, which I think is really important, is taking no BS from anybody, and that's outside the ring. Taking no BS from promoters, from fans, from people in the locker room, like standing your ground, because in this business, sadly, people like to take advantage of you. Promoters like to take advantage of you. That's happened to me quite a bit when I first started, and
Okay.
especially in regards to like getting paid and stuff. And I'm not doing this for the money. If you're doing this for the money, then you're in the wrong industry. It's not for the money, it's for the love of it. But at the end
Sure.
of the day, you're still putting your body on the line. And it's uncomfortable to have those money talks.
Yeah.
And Bryce really definitely is big on knowing your worth and putting your foot down and not letting anybody walk all over you. And
Okay.
those two things, especially that last one, stuck with me. And then for Isaiah, he also preached the same thing about putting your foot down, knowing your worth. Um, and I feel like that's something a lot of schools need to teach, but definitely from Isaiah, um, I think the biggest thing with him and Kylie
Mhm.
Ray, the psychology, they are a big reason why, and Bryce too, of course, but they're a big reason why I'm at where I'm at today, because the way they just make sense of everything and just simplify it down, it's like, holy crap, I thought of this whole complex thing when in reality it's just boom, boom, boom. And
Yeah.
definitely that psychology is so important, and that storytelling, and they really are big on basics.
Hmm.
So psychology and basics are the two things that I really picked up from Isaiah. And basics, man, I figured out how important basics really are. Like,
Okay.
in all honesty, in my opinion, like, I don't do anything really crazy in the ring. I could, but I don't need to. I really stick to what I know. And that's another thing Isaiah and Kylie taught us. Do what you know and practice it so you could do it the best. So I feel like I don't do anything too crazy,
Yeah.
but what I do know is my basics, and I still have a lot to learn, but what I do feel confident in is my basics, from what they taught me.
Hmm.
And I try to make that shine in the ring. And I felt like that's worked for me. So that's what I've learned a lot from those two, even though recently I taught Bryce a lesson, but you're going to have to pay to watch that when it comes out.
Oh, I see. I see. I see. Yes. And speaking of that, as a quick plug, November 14th should be Zella Pro's Any Given Sunday show airing, I think on Fight TV.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, you guys wrestled there. We won't spoil anything as to what happened. It sounds like you got the better of them at least a little bit in some cases. I'm
Yeah.
sure
I
that was a
showed him,
great.
I showed him that the student has a couple of things that he was taught himself.
A couple
I kept
tricks.
a couple tricks up my sleeve, and he didn't teach me everything, so it wasn't easy by any means. It was a hard fought match, but as for the winner, you're gonna have to pay to find out. We'll see if I came out victorious or not. But
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
And speaking of your in ring, so touch on that a little bit more. Like, how would you define your style as of right now in ring? I know you said you're trying to get a little bit better at grappling, but where did you say like you're at right
um, as for grappling, um, I'm good with like the basics of it.
now? Okay.
Like, I know how to get out of holds. I know a couple basic counters.
Hmm.
I'm definitely nowhere near like a Lee or a Gresham or even an Isaiah, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but I think I could definitely hold my own. But as for my current in-ring style, um, I definitely like to involve. It's a little bit unorthodox because I like to involve my dancing in it. If you've
Okay.
noticed.
Yes.
So how I would describe it is this: back in history, over the test of time, all warriors had to learn how to dance because of their footwork. I know in fencing specifically, you had to learn how to ballroom dance. And if you knew how to ballroom dance, then you could fence. Dancing is very crucial for warriors uh,
Okay.
back in history
Okay.
because it taught them the basics. And because I grew up a dancer, I was able to catch on to the basics. So I brought my dancing into the ring. So how I would describe my style is a little bit of high flying, a little bit of technical, but a lot of dancing. So that's how I would put it. And a lot of people don't think about these things. A lot of people are like, oh, I'm gonna get into professional wrestling. I need to take Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, things of that sort. And those are all great things. Like, oh my God. But a lot of people don't pick up on dancing, and
Yeah.
it's something that I definitely have up my sleeve. And I'm able to catch people off guard a little bit, play a little bit of mind games in the ring.
I'm glad I asked this question because that's not something I would have expected you to answer, but I can see how they can improve the footwork. Scale 1 to 10. How do you think? Where do you think you fall as a dancer?
I'd say a 7.
Okay. That's being humble, I think.
I'd say it's 6 or 7. Okay. Because again, it's gonna be annoying how many times I say this, but I know the basics. That's pretty much it. I took a couple salsa classes for 2 years, and then just growing up doing it, and I got the basics down. But I'd rate myself like a 6 or a 7. Yeah. Like I know how to move my hips, and I just try to show my opponents how to as well.
There you go. Have you watched any Dancing with the Stars? Did you watch The Miz this season?
No, I did not. I did see a couple clips though. It was pretty cool to see that another wrestler. I know Chris Jericho did it, right?
He did it 1 year. Yeah, there's it's hard to keep up just because there's been like 70 million seasons. I just like catch it here and there.
Yeah, I used to watch it as a kid with my aunt and uncle because they would always have it on. So yeah, I definitely grew up on that show. I'd say I wasn't a super fan by any means, but I definitely enjoyed just like seeing, people, celebrities that may have never danced before, even wrestlers, especially wrestlers, and then they go out there and do it, and they do a really good job. So it was dope seeing the Miz do that. And I remember like years ago when Chris Jericho was doing it, I was like, oh my God, that's so
cool. Speaking of Kylie, I know you mentioned Kylie training you. What are some of your favorite matches that you have so far? I'm assuming you versus Kylie probably falls into that, right? One, maybe top 3 or something like that. But
oh yeah,
you tell me.
Kylie was definitely. I've been having a lot of dream matches lately.
Okay.
Kylie was definitely like a big dream match of mine. Like for years, I really wanted to wrestle Kylie, and I honestly didn't know who I was gonna wrestle like up until like a couple days before the show, like less than a week. And when I found out, I was like, oh crap, I wish I knew like a month ago so I could like mentally prepare.
Right.
Yeah, that match with Kylie, man, that was definitely something. But as for my favorite matches that I've had so far, well, definitely Kylie, but definitely my match with Cole Radrick on a Shy Secret Stash. That match, going a little bit of backstory on that match. And I heard this from a couple of different people. That match, I was told by one person they thought was going to be the sleeper match. They thought it was going to be the match. I was like, okay, this is cool, but this is probably not going to be anything, special. But for it being my freelance debut, like I was hungry for this opportunity, and I wasn't going to let it fall through my fingertips by any means. So I went out there and I gave it my all. And Cole Radrick, he goes out there and gives it his all every night, regardless what show he's on. So our first match and our second match at Freelance Underground are definitely my favorites. But one that I think a lot of people may not really think about if they like just see it on paper. Jaden Newman, I wrestled him for Freelance Underground a couple months ago.
Okay.
And it was the September show, I believe. And it was the first time where in the middle of a match, I distinctly remember I like kicked out of a pin, and I distinctly remember just like thinking to myself, holy crap, this is a good match. That's not me like bragging or tooting my own horn, but like we had something in there. And that was the first time we ever met, first time we ever wrestled for sure. And if you guys have IWTV, I encourage you check out that match between me and Jaden Newman, because we had something there. We
Yeah.
clicked, and that was only our first time meeting. There was a certain chemistry there that I felt like really heavily. So I'd say Kylie, Cole, Jaden Newman, and then of course Robert Ego Anthony.
Okay.
That was my most intense and most challenging match of all time. Like, he brought something out of me that I didn't know that I had.
Yeah.
And I always like to think that I had a very big fighting spirit and a never say die attitude, but that didn't get tested until ego. And I think I proved myself that even if I go down, I'm gonna take a piece of my opponent with me. And
Okay.
that match holds a special place in my heart for what he brought out of me. So yeah, definitely those.
Amazing. Yeah. It sounds like you went down swinging against a savvy veteran, but
I
probably
tried, yeah.
gained some respect during that match, which is awesome. One thing I wanted to touch on before we wrap up the main course, or otherwise known as the hot plate. One thing I want to touch on is that I feel like your current, like your graduating class has a chip. Would you say that your graduating class has a chip on their shoulder? I feel like you guys are always being touted as people that help and that are around and that are very hungry. And I haven't really heard anything bad about collectively you as a group. So would you say that you guys have a chip on your shoulder? If so, why? And can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, I definitely say that we do. We do have a chip on our shoulder. Um, and as being a part of like really the first class with Davy Bang, with August Matthews, with Trevor Outlaw, and Elena Black, now known as Cora Jade,
Right.
you know, um, we were the new kids on the block as a school. We weren't here for 15, 20 years. We only here for a couple. I think
Yeah.
November 2018, around there.
Okay.
So it's still a fairly, new school.
Yep.
And a lot of where that chip came from is not only just being like a brand new school, but there's a mantle that freelance wrestlers have. Guys like Matt Nix, Castro, Isaiah, Kylie, Ego, Craig Mitchell, Alex Olson, Darren Corbin, the list goes on. There's a certain way they carry themselves. There's a certain way, there's a certain prestige that they have. And we all looked at that, and not to say this in like a cocky way, but we all kind of knew and were hoping, that we would be the future of freelance. And
Right.
we looked at them and we were like, we need to give this our all, and we need to even try to be half as good as they are. So that's where the chip comes from. We have big shoes to fill.
Right.
Like a lot of these freelance shows, it's us. Like, we started attempting to take that mantle. You see the Brain Bros often. You've been seeing me often. Trevor Outlaw just main evented the last two freelance shows. You're seeing a lot more of us. And we worked our butts off day in, day out. We still are, to hopefully fill the shoes that we've been given to fill. And it's not up to us to decide whether we fill them or not. It's up to the fans, and it's up to guys like Isaiah, people like Kylie, Matt Nix, to give us the nod. And I hope we're doing a good job, just continuing being the next generation of freelance. And yeah, that's where the chip came from. We had a lot to prove. We had big shoes to fill, and we're like, we're not gonna mess around. It's all or nothing, and we give it our all day in and day out.
Yeah. Without giving a compliment to Trevor Outlaw, I think you guys really haven't missed a beat. I'm enjoying it so far.
Thank you.
And it's still really early too, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah, I know. Weird.
Maybe just because there was like a whole year that didn't count, basically.
Oh man, yeah.
A whole year where you maybe wrestled like once. So I don't know. It still feels like you guys are found your footing, but there's so many stories you guys can tell.
Oh
I
yeah.
think so.
Yeah, and I look forward to it, you know.
Definitely.
Yeah, most of us, unlike Trevor's old self, are under the age of 25, so we got time. I just turned 20 a month ago, October 8th. David and August are 21. You
Wow.
know, like uh Coda Hernandez, he's 21. We're young, you know. We got time. And that's not saying, oh, we could slack off now because we've got all those years, but no, that makes us want it. That makes us want it more.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be here. We're gonna be here. We're gonna be in this industry for a while.
Awesome. Your favorite entree or main course food that you enjoy eating?
Ooh, um, man, I'd probably have to say, I think I'm gonna divide the Chicago fan base a little bit.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to say Giordano's deep dish pizza.
Oh no. Well,
Yeah.
I'm a lose guy. I don't dislike Giordano's.
Yeah, and I
So
don't dislike lose. It's a great
yeah.
second.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, on opposite day. No,
Yeah.
no,
I grew
I
up on Giordano's.
okay. Yeah. I think we'll agree to disagree there. I do want to I haven't had Giordano's in a while. I think I need to give it another shot. But it's just like there's so many lose close to me that it's just like why settle for second, you know? When you can
Yeah.
have when you
I
can have
did grow
lose.
up on Lose too. There was a Lose by right across the street from my mom's job. And she still works there. And there was a Giordano's right by my house where I grew up, in Logan Square, that area.
Okay.
It's still there. So I
Yeah.
kind of had the best of both worlds, but I
Nice.
just prefer Giordano's because El Sazon, I bring the flavor. I know the flavor. Giordano's are the best.
And then I'm sure there's people listening that's like, what about Pequods? It's just like, I don't like my crust that burnt.
Oh
Okay. So
yeah.
like everyone relax on Pequods and you can wait an hour and 45 minutes for your pizza and I already have eaten mine.
Yeah. Do we have an
So
appetizer choice by any chance?
if you want to, actually, that's a great call. That's shame on me for not including that. It would. Okay. What's your go-to app?
um, I'd say empanadas. I love
Oh,
me
okay.
a beef empanada, and that's the Puerto Rican in me. We call them pastelillos, but just a general term.
Sure.
Empanadas, pastelillos. So I love me a good empanada. And
Okay.
the best place to get them, in my opinion, are the Cuban restaurants like Señor Pan or Cuban Fusion.
Okay.
So I love empanadas.
What kind of sauce do you do with those?
Um, I like the mayo
Or,
ketchup sauce that I get
okay.
from the Cuban restaurants, but it's like they add something to it. It's not just mayonnaise and ketchup mixed together.
Yeah.
They like
Yeah. Yeah.
they season it with something. It's so good. It really is.
Hmm.
I love eating it. Oh man, those are the best.
That's a great call. That's a great, like, I don't think empanadas get enough love, honestly.
Oh yeah, they don't.
It needs more awareness. We need more empanada awareness
Oh
for this
yeah,
podcast.
definitely. I'm gonna start throwing empanadas out to the crowd like here. Y'all, y'all need to get blessed by this.
I think the crowd will love you even more. I mean, who wouldn't want that?
Oh yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
so going into the dessert guilty pleasure section, what are some other hobbies that you have? What are some other things that you like to do
um, well,
outside of wrestling, outside
wrestling,
of kicking
yeah, outside
ass?
of wrestling, um, I love to make music.
Okay.
I'm starting my own entrance music business called Indie Anthems. I've been kind of
Fuck
I made
yes.
yeah, I made some social media for it, a Twitter and Instagram. I've been a little silent on it lately because I graduate from my college November 19th, so like all my attention has been focused on that. Which is funny.
Okay.
I graduate the 19th in the morning, and then I got the take it home records at night at Freelance. So that's
Nice.
gonna be a busy day, but
Yeah.
yeah, I love making
And
music.
congrats if I don't see you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and yeah, I like to pride myself on my music, especially because like I don't just make like one or two genres. Like I know people here like, oh, you're a producer, you just like make hip hop and trap. I can, and I can do it well. Like that's one thing I will brag on because I've been making music for 10 years. So that's one thing I will brag on. I could make that and I could do it very well, but I could also make orchestral music. I could also make I've made metal before as well. Virtual instruments, the expensive ones sound really authentic. And
Okay.
I've tested it out with um normal people. I was like, here, listen to this track. And they think it was actual guitars, actual drums, but because they sound so good thanks to native instruments, it doesn't sound like it's a program, even though it is sampled from real instruments. I can make dubstep, EDM.
Okay.
I've actually made Kylie Ray's theme song that she's using, not the one that she uses around the indies, but on NWA, when they do come out to the theme songs, the Empower pay-per-view that they had, she came out to the entrance theme song that I made for her. And I made one for Coda Hernandez, the one that Pick and Pop comes out to.
Okay.
I produced the beat for that one. Also, Queen Bee, Brooke Valentine, her current entrance theme song I made as well. Trevor Outlaw twisted my arm to make a custom entrance one for him in case he needs one. So
You could probably skip that actually.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love making music. That's a big hobby of mine. And once I got all my college stuff done with, I'll be able to jump back into my indie anthems, entrance music, making productions. So if you're a wrestler and you need a custom entrance theme song, I'm your guy.
That's awesome. I love that. I appreciate a really awesome custom entrance theme. And it's not to say that I don't like a non-custom entrance theme, because like I think someone like you and someone like maybe Isaiah and someone like an Effie that have an actual song that that when you hear that song you associate it with that wrestler. That's
Right.
hard. I think it's hard to do though. Like that
Mhm.
takes a while for that to like, okay, when I hear Elton John, that song by Elton John, okay, I really think of Effie. So like unless
Yeah.
you can get to that point, I think it's maybe, unless you can get to that point, I think it's maybe best to like start from the ground with a custom theme, and then a good custom theme, right? Because like I think of someone
Mhm.
like Ethan Page or like an MJF. I think MJS was custom. I haven't heard it before, but when they are on the indies with a custom theme, and then they were able to go to other places that maybe had a little bit more like TV production value and just continue to use that theme, the continuity across promotions is really cool there. Or like
Yeah.
sometimes like you can't use your theme because like the it's getting the show is getting recorded, and then when
Yeah.
you watch
Copyright.
it you copyright. Yeah, exactly. So like if you can, it can work either way, but you can have really good continuity from for everywhere you go
Oh yeah.
if you have a really good custom theme like sticking with you from like
Definitely.
start to finish.
Yeah, and that's the thing about like my entrance songs as well. Like I said, Kylie used hers on the Empower show. So when I make you a custom theme, it's yours. Like don't worry about me uh dishing out copyrights and stuff like that.
Right.
So that's yours to keep. I mean, if y'all want to bless me with royalties, by all means, but I'm doing it for the love of the game.
That's awesome. I think we need more custom themes in indie wrestling. And I think it's just a production thing it's just easy to pick a actual song. And it's like a
Mhm.
production thing that I think gets skipped on indies. And like, it's cool that you're a resource for that little detail to come to life.
Yeah, and if ever the day comes where I do get signed, I would love to continue using Vivir Mi Vida, but if I can't, I know exactly how to replicate it. So
Boom.
I'm set. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. You ready for word association?
Yeah. All
Okay,
right.
so that's for you listening. I'm going to read off 10 words pretty quickly. Angel Escalera when I say a word, he has to respond with a one word answers. It's usually the first word that comes to your head. Obviously, if it's a bad word, switch it or something you'll regret. But like once again, the example we used before we started recording is if I say pro wrestling, some people would argue like love, or some people would say love or passion as their answer. Mm-hmm. So we're just going to go through these rapid fire. Okay, you ready?
All right. Yeah.
Okay. Number 1, freelance wrestling.
Passion.
Okay. Logan Square Auditorium.
Home.
Good answer. Freelance Underground.
Love.
Okay. Project Monix.
That's not a word. Sorry.
That's fine. We will accept that as an answer. If you want it to be
Betrayal.
I'll accept it. Betrayal. Good one.
Yeah.
Galley Lucha Libre.
My start.
Okay. Trevor Outlaw.
Piece of crap.
we will bend the rules and accept that one. Acting.
Theater.
Okay. Zolo Pro.
Green.
Yes. Fuck yeah. That's the answer I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Last two. Salsa dancing.
Home. I just thought of home again. Sorry.
Okay.
Can we repeat words, or is that not allowed?
Yeah, it's they're loose rules. If you got another word, you can say it for salsa dancing.
Family.
Okay, that's a good one. You're not getting graded on this or anything. It's mostly just
okay.
Yeah. And the last one, Kylie Ray.
Mentor.
All right, good job, man. You nailed home was a good one. You nailed the one for Trevor, although it was more than one word, but we'll accept it. And and you nailed green. That was perfect.
Yeah, Trevor is a special individual where there's not just one word you could describe him as. There's just a plethora of just sounds you could put together to just talk about this man-child. I'm glad he's using his mom's Twitter.
Oh, is
lovely. He? Yeah, he's back on Twitter. He's using his mom's account. So I guess if you want to hear what he has to say for some reason, follow his mom's account.
Is he still suspended?
Oh yeah.
What? How? That's been like weeks. Like, what do you have to do to get a week-long ban on this app?
You got to be Trevor Outlaw.
What even is his? Do you even know what his mom's Twitter is?
Let me see.
You can send it to me after. It's fine.
All right.
Yeah.
He's been posting about it on Instagram, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll check there. I'll have to say hi to his mom too.
Definitely.
I
don't even think she knows.
I hope he's not saying anything too foul, that foul little boy.
Oh yeah.
All right. That was a buffet line. Did you enjoy yourself?
I'm stuffed. And I am glad I brought the flavor.
I think you did. I think this is a very enjoyable conversation. There were some things I did not know about you that I learned on this podcast, specifically like acting and a little bit of the dancing background and things like that. So really, really cool stuff. People want to know more. Where can they find you on the internet?
You can find me on Instagram at L_Sazon official.
Okay.
On Twitter, L_Sazon Angel. Yeah, pretty much those two. And then Angel Escalera on Facebook. I don't really use Facebook like that, but
it's all good.
If I get a message on Messenger, I'll try to respond if it's nothing illicit. I haven't gotten any of those, but I mean, still, yeah, Instagram and Twitter are my main platforms. So yeah, you could reach out to me on there. I try to respond to as many people as I can. Yeah. Yeah, I'm an open book. So yeah, feel free to chat.
All right. Yeah, and we're coming up right on an hour too. So a quick, efficient conversation and jam-packed full of stuff. You can find all the rest of our episodes, including, I know we mentioned it earlier, including an interview with Craig Mitchell, on which is really fun, on twoheelsonface.com. That's the number 2 heels in a face. 2 heels in a face on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And then we're on all podcast platforms, including SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, Spotify, YouTube, et cetera, et cetera. So if you can't find us, you're not looking hard enough. And when promoting this episode, use the hashtag Viva La Chico or hashtag BeatUpGPA, and we'll greatly appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
Yeah. No problem. Yeah. I also wanted to thank you for the kind words you said on your podcast a couple of months ago after my Kylie Ray match. So I really appreciated that.
Yeah, man. No, absolutely. I mean, I think that the proof is in the pudding. So I'm just looking forward to seeing more, honestly. Things are getting on more of a consistent cadence. So
I'm happy to hear that.
All
the
right.
words of affirmation is big for me, so I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. I absolutely. And I know I told you the same thing too. I think after your Chicago Secret Stash match, but I think that match like solidified you as a staple and like a pillar on this roster. So yeah.
Thank you.
I look forward to you kicking some ass against the Take It Home Wreckers. They deserve it.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to kick Darren Corbin's head again.
All right.
Thank
Thank you for joining. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Take care.